Welcome back to Lingoni English. My name's Brian. In this video, I'm going to teach you 7 rules for when you do not use articles like a, an, or the in English. Now, if you do not know what an article is, or if you need a little more practice with them, you can watch Emily's video on them here. Now, this might seem like a lot to remember, especially compared to some other languages. But of course, it gets easier with time and practice, and you can always watch this video again in the future for practice and help. Let's get started. So first, you do not use an article before people's names. So for example, can you send an email to Robert about the meeting, please? Here, you just say, can you send an email to Robert with no article? You do not say the Robert or a Robert, just Robert, because it's a name. Again, can you send an email to Robert about the meeting, please? Let's look at another example. Amanda and Tristan are sharing a fan. This means that they are using the fan together. It's not just for Tristan, it's not just for Amanda. They're both using it together. Now notice you do not say the, a, or an before Amanda or Tristan. You just say Amanda and Tristan. Again, Amanda and Tristan are sharing a fan. This is also true for number 2. Proper names of places like cities, states, provinces, and countries. So for example, Tondo grew up in South Africa. South Africa is a country, so we do not use an article. Tondo grew up in South Africa. The same is true for the example, they've never been to Miami, Florida. So both Miami, the city, and Florida, the state, do not use articles. They've never been to Miami, Florida. And one more example, João rode his bike from Brazil to Bolivia. Again, João rode his bike from Brazil to Bolivia. But wait a minute, don't you say the United States? Well, there are some exceptions to this rule. So when a country is plural, so 2 or more in the name, for example, United States is plural, you say the United States or the US, the USA. The same is true for other plural countries like the Philippines, the Netherlands, the Bahamas, the United Arab Emirates, etc. And this is also true for countries when there is an adjective and a noun together in the name. So for example, the Czech Republic. Which republic? The Czech Republic. Which kingdom? The United Kingdom, or the UK. All right, now number 3 is languages. So for example, my aunt speaks Polish and Russian. My aunt speaks Polish and Russian. No article. Or Alice learned Cantonese from her grandparents. Alice learned Cantonese from her grandparents. Number 4 is specific places that people go to regularly, maybe every day or every week. So let's look at an example sentence. Leah goes to work in the morning, then she goes to school in the afternoon, and she goes home in the evening. So when you hear this sentence, because there's no article, you can tell that Leah goes to these places every day or every few days. Again, Leah goes to work in the morning, she goes to school in the afternoon, and she goes home in the evening. In addition to work, home, and school, other places that you visit frequently that you usually do not use an article with would be mosque, temple, church, and college. However, someone, for example, a father, could say, I'm going to the school to pick up Josiah. Here he says the school because he's talking about the specific school that Josiah goes to. He does not say, I'm going to school, because even if the father goes to the school every day to pick up Josiah, he is not a student at the school. I'm going to the school to pick up Josiah. All right, place number 5 where you do not use an article is before names of meals. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. For example, what did you have for breakfast this morning? What did you have for breakfast this morning? I had oatmeal. Or, I don't feel like cooking dinner. I don't feel like cooking dinner. Now, the next one is very common, and it's when you talk about something in general. So, for example, I play tennis every summer. Now, tennis is a sport, and sports here are considered something that are general. Again, I play tennis every summer. Another one is, music is important to me. Again, this is not any music in particular, it's just music in general. Music is important to me. The same is true for the sentence, I like coffee. Here, you're just talking about coffee in general, so you say, I like coffee with no article. But say, for example, you're in a cafe or a coffee shop with a friend, you might say,
How's the coffee?
It's strong.
I can tell.
Here, Emily said, how's the coffee? Because she's just talking about the coffee that I'm drinking then in that moment. Or if you're walking past a coffee shop, you might say to your friend, I love the coffee there. Here, you're talking about the specific coffee that exact coffee shop makes. Again, I love the coffee there. Now, the examples that I just said were all uncountable. For example, tennis, you cannot say 1 tennis, 2 tennises. No, that doesn't exist. The same is true with music and usually for coffee too. But what about countable nouns? Well, when talking about countable nouns in general, you use the plural form with no article. So for example, onions make me cry. It's not just this onion, it's any onion that makes me cry. So when I say onions make me cry, I put an S on the end to make it plural, and I do not use an article. Another example is, I like dogs. In general, I like dogs. But if you're talking about a countable item that's specific, for instance, you could say,
Hey Brian, where are the tomatoes?
What tomatoes?
The tomatoes that we bought yesterday.
Oh, they're right here. Here, Emily's talking about the specific tomatoes that we bought yesterday. So she says the before tomatoes. The tomatoes we bought yesterday. And last but not least is when you have a noun plus a number. So for example, Marlene lives in apartment 12. Here, apartment is a noun and 12 is a number, so you do not need an article. Marlene lives in apartment 12. Or when you're in the supermarket, you might hear, Register 3 is now open. This means that you can walk to Register 3 and buy what you want to buy. Again, Register 3 is now open. But be careful when you use ordinal numbers like first, second, third, fourth, etc., plus a noun, you do say the before it. So for example, the first day of school is tomorrow. The first day of school is tomorrow. Or, go to the fourth floor and turn right. Go to the fourth floor and turn right. If you need practice with ordinal numbers, you can review them in this video here on saying the date. Now go ahead and practice and write one sentence with an article and another sentence without an article in the comments below. Thanks for watching Lingoni English. See you next time.
Oh. Okay, here we go. Are you laughing out there? No.
The Czech Republic.